He once said, "The process of discovery is, in effect." Albert Einstein, in all of his academic prowess, never lost sight of this, never lost sight of the sense of wonder. He once said, "The process of discovery is, in effect, a continual flight of wonder." Let us not forget, in the busyness of our schedules, our task lists, our to-do lists, to step back, use our imaginations to heighten opportunities for discovery and innovation.
Were also admired for their poetic expressivity, occasions whose navigation required some athletic prowess, as you can see in both of those photographs on the right. And these works were also admired for their poetic expressivity, occasions whose navigation required some athletic prowess, as you can see in both of those photographs on the right. And these works were also admired for their poetic expressivity.
It says men are like this, empowering and physical presence and masculinity and phallic symbols, and that if you create a construct that says men are like empowering and physical presence and masculinity and phallic symbols, and that if you create a construct that says men are like this, well, if you're a woman, you will always fail to be able to perform that role. And protagonism in literature and narrative is just the same. Like, if you just recast without looking at the very real complications that affect women, and this is my point about women writers and where it starts, because when I learned when I was working in programming for a theatre company and desperately trying to fix the gender quotas, like as a feminist activist determined that I would be part of the solution and the change, I found that boys would come to me all the time. I have written a play and I expect you to read it because I, a man, have written a play. Where I would have to go out and find young female or emerging female artists and locate them and develop a conversation with them and build trust with them. It was a much longer conversation to convince them that they were entitled to have a role within the production of narrative, because that's not the message that girls receive, that they can be makers and they have a sense of entitlement. And this is where it begins. You know, the solution to the problem of women's participation is the same solution to the problem of cultural representation.
To affecting the policy. How can we, despite the limits of our disciplinary prowess, address issues that go beyond the relatively inert constructions of buildings to affecting the politics of space?
And I would love to.
Any plans to take that real estate prowess and bring it to the D?
That's a.
Any plans to take that real estate prowess and bring it to the D?
That's a great question. I've been thinking about different options, and I would love to.
Good.
It's a great time to invest in Detroit, and I can't say enough about all of the exciting things happening here. So I actually encourage the world to come experience Detroit in one way or another.
Yes.
Educated workforce wasn't much. We were going to hit Florida on our prowess from a workforce standpoint and a STEM standpoint. Our STEM educated workforce wasn't much better than Florida's. And I do not consider Florida a talented state. I think Gavin Newsom's even brought up, educational attainment levels dropping. Bachelor's degree as a percentage of our population as a state has been dropping. We were going to hit Florida on our prowess from a workforce standpoint and a STEM standpoint. Our STEM.
The console, how many people are, and he asked me to use my programming prowess to help him out. So what we're looking at here is the Google Developer Console for Greg's application. But before we drill into the console, how many people are command line fans? How many people are more productive on the command line? Let's hear it, okay?
Yeah.
Great, yes, me too. So we're gonna start there. I'm gonna show you our new G-Cloud command line tool. The reason I'm more productive on the command line.
Tides and currents skills are born not of technological prowess. They've eschewed maps and skills are born not of technological prowess. They've eschewed maps, compasses, and other instruments, but of a profound understanding of winds, snowdrift patterns, animal behavior, stars, tides, and currents. The Inuit are masters of perception, or at least they used to be. Something changed in Inuit culture at the turn of the millennium. In the year 2000, the U.S. government lifted many of the restrictions on the civilian use of the Global Positioning System. The Igloo